Peace family. So we back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about how you must not fall for their trap. Do not fall for their traps. They got a lot of spells that they cast in. They got a lot of backdoor traps that they like to set up. You know, they got a lot of manipulation and deception they like to put at the front door. You know, because you don't really have to deceive somebody when you're going through the back door. But when you come in through the front door, they have to use some deception and manipulation. And kind of multitude of things brought me into this subject today. And I realized when I'm not engaging and when we aren't engaging with as many people as we do out here in today's society, you find yourself not complaining as much. You don't find yourself in a complaining mood. You know what I mean? You don't find yourself in a gossipy space. And when I took some breaks from some people, and then, you know, some pop back in, some don't pop back in, you know, but for the ones that do pop back in and they still using the same playbook, we may not have some of the same conversation engagements that we were having previously, but what I realize is they try to pull me into these webs of low vibrations with complaining. And to them, they don't really see it as complaining, especially if they try to change the energy signature on it. They try to speak it softer, say it nicer, you know, pretend like they taking some kind of accountability for whatever it is that they're discussing. And you also have to manage dealing with hearing them discuss other people, especially when you're not in that space anymore and you tend to pull yourself out of the gossipy space and talking about others in a manner that's unbeneficial. You know, we're going to talk about people regardless. You know, we talk about things we listen, we talk about things we watch, but long as it's not conducive with what's being unproductive to whatever situation may be at hand. You know what I mean? Complaining and gossiping is extremely low vibrations, and these are things that people don't look at as something serious, as in it's not bothering or affecting you. But a lot of things that happen in today's society right now isn't physical. We aren't living by natural law right now, and they basically removed a lot of the physical brute force that we could apply. We still can, it's just a lot of people don't want to deal with the consequences of the brute force. You know, once you get of age. Underage, you can see that they don't really care. They'll go back and forth with it. Minors understand that they're minors and they don't face the same kind of harsh consequences. But this is one of those things that the system works on. So they can poison us slowly, but because you don't see the poison in the food, in the water, in the air, in the soil, you feel as though it's not affecting you. And because it's not affecting you right now, you feel like it has no longevity effects. This is very, very, very untrue. And this is why we separated, or why we remove certain people out of our space, so we can not have as many interferences in us projecting our best vibrations we possibly can. And what it does for me is it allows me to work different tactics within myself as far as how I can communicate with people when my energy is raising at a certain temperature, how to communicate effectively when people are saying things that I really don't care for talking about. You know, the old me used to shut it down right away if I didn't want to hear it, and I didn't care how you received it. Now the new me will shut it down, but I'm more mindful as far as how I send that vibration to them, because when they're not moving with source and they're not being evil, I just see them as little children, you know what I mean? So whether they take in the information that I'm giving them or not is solely up to them. But a lot of things that we face with dealing with a lot of these weird creatures out here is showing us and teaching us a lot about ourselves, you know. And when people come back into my space and they're on gossipy time or complaining time, I figured out different things that work for me as far as how I don't dive into complaining with them. Because sometimes if you reflect back into your space, you'll realize that it's not like you was trying to complain with them, but we were finding some compatibility in the conversation, something that we both can agree on, something that is relatable to both of us. So sometimes you may just throw out some complaints or frustrations while they're doing theirs, just so they don't feel as though they're the only ones going through something, you know, when in all actuality this is the energy that they always projected and put out. So we don't necessarily need to compensate with some kind of relatable communication back towards them. When you dive into that space too much, you'll find yourself, when you're not around them, being in a complaining mode, you know, or even more willing to indulge into gossiping, you know, low vibration gossip. We always going to talk about people because we are people, you know what I mean? So I'm not one of them people that be like, yeah, don't talk about people and don't do this and don't do that. No, you should be mindful of things that you are saying and communicating about people, unless they deserve it. You know, if you just put them in the box where they at, then it is what it is. It's like when y'all hear me discuss things about my BM that I've been doing on this channel since I basically started, you know what I mean? And I don't have no huge beef or deal with my BM. It is what it is, you know. I got a stereotype generic situation. She's gonna be a witch bitch, and I'm gonna do what I do over on this side. Outside of that, you know, I don't put a whole lot of emphasis or time or energy into that, because the universe requires my energy to be doing other things. And this is something that we have to work on, and we have to stay focused and attentive when we are engaging with the outside realm, you know. Outside of being relatable, also what I try to do is I see how fast I can come up with solutions. You know, sometimes I run into the stores and I'll see people energies is low, or as they're ringing me out, they may be talking about not having a good day or a rough day or a long day, you know. And I try to give them some love and light in the process of whatever they got going on, you know what I mean? I don't know if they're a full witch or if they're just following the demonic playbook. Either way, when I'm in those transactions, I don't really care. I'm just focused on the energy that I put out. We can keep ourselves a lot more balanced and not as wavy and rigid when we can keep these things in mind, you know, because it's always going to be something working to get you off balance. And a lot of these subtle things that be happening is more effective than the physical things that are happening to us. Most of us don't have to deal with people being physically violent with us or to us. Most of us in Western society don't even have to worry about violence, because people have become so complacent with following the system, not standing on any principles, morals, or values, you know. It's like if someone comes into your territory, it's your job to defend it, especially if it's a demonic force or somebody that's coming to cause some kind of harm. And a lot of people are not willing to defend themselves because they're so concerned with the consequences. One thing with the consequences, we all got to move on to our next journey eventually. So you will actually get more strength for being able to stand more solid and defend yourself, you know. it doesn't always have to be physical. We know, I was just expressing earlier how a lot of what we're experiencing now isn't physical. So a lot of people are in that space of saying, well, if I ain't hurt nobody else, you know, I'm just doing me. I'm just doing me. And you know, that's its own topic for another day, which I'll probably touch base on that soon too, because we do hear a lot of this of, what I wear isn't affecting you, you know, what I do isn't affecting you. Everything we all do is affecting everyone. You know, I understand the impact that I have on the spaces that I occupy. So with me understanding these things, I already know that it's my job to stand as solid as I possibly can in my walk of life. You know, whether that requires me to be humble in a certain space, or whether that requires me to poke my chest out and beat it like a gorilla. You know what I mean? I'm a man, so I'm never gonna stop beating my chest. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do that till the wheels fall off, or till they take the wheels off. One of the two, wheels gonna fall off, or they gonna take the wheels off. Either way, I'm prepared at all costs, any means. You know, you got to be willing to lose it all in order to gain more. So even if you don't lose it, you have to be willing to lose it. So just keep these things in mind. You know, I didn't really even want to run it up too long, because the subject, it really isn't that complex or that complicated. You know what I mean? When they are complaining, compensate with ideas or solutions. If they don't want to take in the ideas or solutions, shut it down. Change the subject, shut it down. You know, and that's no different when they start gossiping about other people. You know, you may give them 2-3 minutes, you know, 5 minutes to go on and get it off their chest. But when you find yourself asking questions to help them feed back into it more, that's the space that we should be trying our best to stay away from. Because now we're going down into their realm. Anytime people are coming together, things are coming together, worlds are joining, universes are joining together. So it's kind of like what I tell my daughter. Me and my mini will be hanging out. It's mostly just me and my mini a lot of the time. But she'll be doing her own thing, and I'll be doing my own thing. We'll be still around each other, but she's fine with doing her thing, and I can do my thing. But then when we spend time, I have to, just because the way my situation is set up, you know, I try to figure out how to flow with the water, because we got parallel parenting. So I try to cover all angles, but I like to dive into her world as well. You know what I mean? So when we start doing activities and stuff together, certain activities, I'll dive into her world and do them how she wants to or the way she wants to. You know, I understand that, all right, my world is sitting off to the side. I'm about to join her world right now. And then vice versa. You know, when I want us to do productive things, I force her by telling her, no, we're not going to do any of that other stuff. You're going to join this round. You know what I mean? So then she joins my world, and now her space is set off to the side, because we are joined at one, but it's kind of like, I'm a male, I'm an adult, I'm on the basketball court, she's a child, she's a female, she may be like on the playground, you know what I mean? So that's just how I would utilize those examples as far as joining worlds. Yes, we are together, we could be in the same location, place, and vicinity, but in order for us to actually experience each other wholeheartedly, we have to join the same worlds. We cannot be in two separate worlds. That's why you can be in the same house with people, and y'all could be sitting on the same couch, but then you feel as though one is in this part of the world and the other one is on that part of the world. You know what I mean? We're much more spiritual and powerful beings in our inner space than we are out here in this physical world. Physical world is only a representation. It's just a representation of our inner space. You know what I mean? But I ain't want to run it up too long. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the Kings of Queens.